right, YouTube should be up. We're gonna go ahead and continue the stream to Facebook. Let's get that rolling. All right. All right. I think I'm good. All right. Am I good? Am I good? Am I live? I'm good? I'm live! Awesome! Great. Ladies and gentlemen, hashtag news matters, PCG crushed, your PnL squared, easy curls, earnings analysis, as well as charitable donations. I am Mark Melnick, and this is the Newsbeat Show. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Newsbeat Show. We have so many things to discuss with you today. Algorithmic levels, news, PCG, your PnL squared, a pun on square, easy curls, charity, and earnings analysis on Intel, Starbucks, and Western Digital. You want me to give you all that? What are you going to give me? I'll tell you what you're going to give me. You're going to give me a signed, documented paper that you're going to get, what's the word I'm looking for? Approved by everyone around you, and you're going to hang it up on your wall. You agree to hold Mark Melnick, which is myself. Whom is myself? What is myself? You agree to hold Mark Melnick harmless and unliable to anything and everything that you read, listen to, hear, see, think about on this video. If you do not agree to hold me not liable for every single thing shown on this video, you must exit this video immediately. Thank you so much for agreeing for that. Now, since you wrote it out, proudly displayed that disclaimer on your wall, and you had it probably notarized a few times, it would only be fair if I returned the favor. So we're going to start off, let's start off with PCG. And if you don't think news is the most important thing, news traders make so much more than the best technical analysts in the world. It's not even in the same realm. It's not like the news guy, the best news guys are here and the best technical analysts are there. It's like, take out your telescope, the best news guy is there, all the way up in the sky, that little white dot, which is hundreds of billions of light years away. The best technical analyst is like, on the third floor. So what happened today? If you're watching the market, all of a sudden, PCG just got halted right over here after spiking up. The stock went from 738 to 782, had a circuit breaker halt. This is a 1-minute chart. I can probably show you on the 5, make it a lot easier. Got halted here, and then just basically shot up, exploded. And what happened here is we were able to analyze the news, and it was very quick. I don't claim it's easy, but there were two things that we did for you that brought a ton of value. So PCG opened up here and started moving. And let's talk about the news, how we interpreted it, and why it's important to be, surrounded by people who understand the news as opposed to people saying the news isn't important. Anyone who says the news isn't important is surrounded by a bunch of failing traders. That is a fact. The people who say the news is not important are the people who don't know or took the time to make money off it. Now, for the first 15 years of my career, I was a strict technical analyst. And yes, I did make my little 100 to 400 or 500,000 a year. And then I was like, I'm going to integrate news into my technical analysis. And I'm popping 7 figures, popping 7 figures, popping 7 figures. Why is that? Did I suddenly become a better trader? Did I finally see something in the charts that I've never noticed before? Perhaps, but I can promise you that is not what it is. So what PCG said is They came out and they basically said the Tubbs fire was caused by a private electrical system, which means that they might not be as liable for the recent fire, the recent wildfire, and they basically might not go bankrupt. I mean, that is the thought process here behind PCG. So the first thing I said after they got halted, right over here, and they were halted, and I'm like, if this is true, PCG could go to $12 to $15 because I understand the news and I followed it. So what I did here was I did two things. One, I bought $10 calls. I bought $10 calls right here, right before the stock went from 10 to 14, and I watched my options go up 4 times in value. And that was before that. But what else I did was I was telling you guys during this halt, during this halt right here at 325, this is a 1 minute chart, right? So during this halt, I was telling everybody in the room, you could trade PCGA, you could trade PCGB. What happened here was the the common, the excuse me, preferred, not the common, the preferred shares were still trading. So we were one of the first people out there bringing this to the attention of everyone, and then the room started doing volume. We were talking about PCGA when it was in the 1580 range right here. And PCGA went from 1580 all the way to $21 with zero halts. This thing never got halted. We also brought up PCGB, which also never got halted, and PCGD, which also never got halted. It just, not a lot of people were trading it. And PCGE. But the one we liked was PCGA because it had the most volume. And the reason why it has the most volume is if you were to just knowing simple humanity, if there are a bunch of preferred stocks, PCGA, PCGB, PCGC, PCGD, PCGE, F, G, H, I, I'm not making those letters up, by the way. That's how far it goes. Which preferred share would you most likely trade? A. Most of you would just choose the simplest one and go preferred stock A. So you're watching preferred stock A. We actually called it out off the first halt because we're watching in the 1580 range, and then it exploded. So we were able to trade PCG through the halt. There were traders buying PCG making 3, 4, 5 points while the stock was halted, just buying PCGA because for whatever reason they decided not to halt the preferred stock, and you were able to crush it. So you want to tell me knowledge of the market isn't important? News? All right, so we put a $12 to $15 target on PCG after the first halt right over here when it got halted at 782. We called out the preferred shares. It gapped up. I bought $10 calls, gapped up again, sold out, crushed it. Now, normally I was going to save the charity part to the end, but, you know, it was a weird trade. I felt it was just like one of those blessings. Give money to charity. Give money to charity. So just to show you, the charity I will be supporting with that crushing trade in PCG today, I'm not going to give to Mrs. Abate's classroom. That was because I already gave her money. I'm going to give it to different classrooms. Go to donorschoose.org. It's donorschoose.org. You see, I already signed up. They gave, the giving history. You could see classroom projects here. You could even choose a city and state that means something to you. Like, so I'm from an interesting neighborhood in Brooklyn, New York. So you could just, say New York City, for example. So New York City. So if you're from New York City, you could just see like how much money these classes need and where your money will go through. You could even choose, like, for example, maybe you want to teach kids music. You could go for musical instruments. And here's a nice one. You could help fund a school music class. Now, look, when I'm on the dance floor, I'll tell you right now, people generally call 911 and ask if I'm okay because it looks like I'm having a seizure. I have about as much rhythm as this desk. I am about as flexible as this desk. I cannot dance if my life depended on it. I cannot play an instrument if my life depended on it. But I still think that it is a very important thing, so I'm gonna end up doing like a very expensive like project here. Here's a class, here's a look at these sweet kids, and it's so beautiful. They send you like thank you cards in the mail. I swear it's so heartbreakingly beautiful to know that you made a difference in these kids' lives, and it shows you where your donation goes for a student model flute, woodwind, and brass wind, student trumpet. They show you the breakdown of where the thing goes and the total project of the goal and all the things, and you could like sponsor one of these things, and it's a beautiful thing. All right, that's enough with the charities. Again, that's donorschoose.org. I'll spell it out on the screen for you. That's www.donorschoose.org. Make a difference in a child's life today. Okay, back to PCG. Went ahead, crushed it here, and it was just a gift. It was just a late day gift, and for me, it was just a very easy crush. Now, next, I'm going to talk about PnL squared. So, what happened this morning for me was, let me show you. I had a Newsbeat name today. I was watching CTL with my highest conviction trade, which is a 4 out of my 1 to 10 scale. And then I basically had 1 and 2 conviction on the rest, with the 3 best ones being Square, Palo Alto, and Weibo, WB, off of my list. So CTL was my favorite, followed by these 3 names. So what happened here? I want to just show you what happened and how we adjusted, because trading isn't about pigeonholing yourself into a mentality. You don't come in saying, I'm going to short this thing no matter what. That's how you lose money, because if it doesn't set up the way you want, you're going to lose money on it. So here we're looking first for the one and done short. Right over here. First 1 minute comes in. We spoke about yesterday shorting below the body. That would have been $14.39. The low of this candle is 14.40. It never went to 14.39. I'm just going to move my mug so you can see the volume here. It never went to 1440. Came down. Oh, I'm going to move my mug over here. Okay. Never broke down here, never broke down here. And if you look right here, you actually elevated on volume. Now, when I see these bearish names that I'm looking to short, I don't want to elevate in volume. So as soon as I saw this, I got weirded out on the whole trade and I decided to ignore it. Immediately, I understand I'm a broadcaster and I'm not one of those shady individuals who just do their own trades, give half a crap about the room and the other half a crap about only their trading. I have a job to do and I'm looking out for the room. So what I did in this situation is I focused in on Square. And I'm basically telling the room right over here, after the CTL looked weird, I'm like, guys, Square's going to rip through $70. Square's going to rip through $70 and focus on Square. And then the people who traded Square, a lot of them did obviously extremely well. So I was able to shift. So CTL was my favorite name. I saw something I didn't like. I pretty much passed on it. I took a small trade later. I lost $200. $200. You make thousands, thousands, thousands on, like for example, a Tesla, or thousands, 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 thousands on like a PCG. But like for me to lose $200 on a name by trading it later in the day with very low conviction, to me was a victory. Now, granted, I was up, well today, but even to lose $200, I'm very proud of that trade. But what I'm even more proud of than losing that $200 on CTL was to focus in on Square and basically let the room know, look, the CTL is just not setting up. We can't predict how it's going to set up. Focus in on Square. And I basically was talking Square up in the morning. Basically talked it from about 69.50 right here, not the day low at 69.30, but 69.50, and talked it up $1.05. When I say talked it up, I mean I was talking about it bullishly the whole time, in this time period. And in 3 minutes, it moved up $1. So again, that's like great money for a Square to catch $1. And if you decided to hold it throughout the day, you could have hit a massive, massive, massive hit. on Square. So congrats to everyone who caught that. That's what I mean, your PnL Square. Now let's talk about easy curls. Now again, I'm just going to tell you right now, if you don't know what I'm talking about my low one strategy or my 821 curls, the easy curls, there is a video inside the description for everything I am talking about. It explains exactly the methodology, meaning if you had the name, you would be able to just trade this. If you knew I was focusing on it, you'd have to be part of the room for that. But you would know exactly how to trade it. There's no weird things. There's no, look for this chart pattern. It's not my favorite chart pattern. It's just something that works. It's about you not predicting the future. It's about you saying, is this going to happen? Then I'll buy it. Is this going to happen? Then I'll buy it. Does it happen? No, I won't do it. If it does, yes. It puts you in a situation where it eliminates psychological toxicity. It gives you a very clear, defined plan for how you're going to trade something, and it makes making money very easy. There's a reason why the Newsbeat Live members are the most consistent traders on the planet. There's a reason why, my PnL will blast people away when it comes to consistency, second to none. Second to none. Now, granted, I'm not one of the most profitable traders in the world. There are traders who are making billions, like a David Einhorn when he buys out a company and he buys, a million option calls in it. I'm not at that level, but when it comes to consistency, we're second to none. We are second to none when it comes to consistency. So I was watching three names today, LRCX and Xilinx, right? I missed them early. I watched LRCX run. Be honest, how many of you out there saw LRCX or Xilinx? I'll pull up that one as well. LRCX or Xilinx and said, I missed the move. It ran up without me. How many of you guys felt that way today? Me, Rudy, Maryam, Kevin. Honestly, Issa, yep. How many of you guys looked at Xilinx and LRCX and were like, I wish I was in it early. It's too late now. It ran up too much. Robert, Jim, right? Right? But Diana, Optrades, Johnny, Madison, Greg, Jack, Bill, Brian, Susan. So I felt the same way. But I said, you know what? I have a strategy which I shared with the world. And again, watch the 821 curl strategy. It basically says the following, very simple. It says using a 5-minute chart, did the yellow line close above the blue on the first 5-minute bar? Or did the exponential 8 close above the exponential 21? My 8 is yellow, my 21 is blue. So you see this yellow and blue on my chart? Did the yellow line close above the blue right here? And the answer is yes. Then you wait for the yellow to get below the blue, which happened right over here. You see how the yellow line goes below the blue? That's step 2. Step 3, the yellow has to get above the blue. And that happened right here. And then what happens after is the yellow has to hit it, and then it goes up, and then you see the stock shot up $1.70 in less than 10 minutes. Beautiful way to make money. I missed that one. I was watching it. I caught LRCX. Did the yellow open up above the blue? Yes. Did it cross below it? Yes, right here. Did it cross back above it? Yes, right over here. Did it pull back to the exponential 8 here? Yes, I bought it right here. I bought it right here was when it was in the 159.20 range. Held it, zero pain. Stock popped to $161.61. I sold it right by 161. I didn't catch the extra 61 cents. Now you might be sitting there thinking, okay, caught $1.80. What's $1.80? It's money. It's money. How much can you make on $1.80? It's easy, easy money. And if you look at the chart, if you look at Xilinx today, if you look at AMAT today, a comp play, if you look at LRCX today, and you watch my 821 curl video, you'll see that you could have made money in every single one of those names, applying exactly to a T everything I spelled out in my algorithmic strategy and my approach to the strategy. I didn't invent a moving average crossover. I'm not the first person who figured that out, but I am a person who tries to add other parameters to make it a better strategy. It's kind of funny. So, Scott Redler, best looking guy at T3. I'm a runner-up for second. Scott Redler, by far the most attractive guy at T3. Okay, he has his Red Dog reversal. I took his Red Dog reversal. I studied it. I loved it. I think it's a great strategy. I give him props. I give him credit. I took that strategy. I made tweaks to it, and I created an algorithmic monster that has a higher consistency rate and shows you actually how to enter those trades. That's what I do. I take strategies, I make them better. I did not invent the moving average crossing over another. I am not the first, probably not the 10,000th person who did it. But the way I explain it and the way I wait for it and the way I approach it and the way that I only do it on news names and the way I buy it, now that is unique. That is unique. And if it isn't unique, nobody out there in the world is sharing it with the exception of myself because there are no other people who have videos out there who do it exactly the way I do. Watch it. It's free. I share it with you for free. Watch the 821 curl strategy. That was easy money. So we went over PCG, news, PnL square, easy curls. Let's go into earnings analysis. Let's go right into earnings. What do you guys want to watch? Intel? Mark, what do you think of Intel? Let's talk about it. Intel plummeting after hours. You're down 3.5 points at the moment right now. Let's talk about Intel. Remember when I was bashing Netflix and every analyst upgraded it? And you remember you remember when I was bashing that? Oh, you remember? Remember right over here when every analyst upgraded it and opened up at 351? 2 days later it went to 318. That Netflix. Let's see if Wall Street got Intel right using the Melnick method. $1.28 beats the $1.22 expected. Penguin clap. Revenue 18.7 billion misses the 19.01 billion. But I don't care about any of that. I want to know what your future projections are. They reported their Q4 earnings, so that's wrapping up 2018. Yes, they reported in 2019, but that's their earnings wrapping up 2018. Now, if you read my 2019 report, we all know there's empirical and indisputable statistical evidence that shows when a company projects future earnings that the current projections meant nothing and the current statements meant nothing. And you will realize that the vast majority of moves follow that mentality. That's why statistical analysis is important. So let's talk about what they reported for the future, because we all know that's what's important. 87 cents versus $1 expected. I wish I had more hands so I could give those earnings 3 thumbs down. What a mess. They see Q1 revenue roughly 16 billion versus 17.37 billion. You can't see my toes, but I have like ballerina feet because, my toes are pointed like this right now with my thumbs. Their earnings sucked. In their fiscal year 19, estimates of 71 point for the full year of 19 for the next 4 quarters of 71.5 billion versus 73 and a quarter, 73.25, 73 and a quarter billion consensus expected also sucks. Intel's earnings sucked. Now, what does that mean? Let's see where Intel has come from. I remember when Intel was $43.54 on December 24th, like 1 month ago, like today's January 24th, like 1 month ago, it was all the way down here. What's the difference between now and then? Well, the market moved a little higher since then. You all know that we, caught a nice bottom there in the market and we rode it up. You guys were well aware of that. But now, this market needs to come down. These earnings are sucking. Netflix earnings sucked. Apple's earnings sucked. Google's earnings sucked. Amazon's earnings sucked. They all sucked. And Intel's earnings sucked. Show me a big company that's reporting something good when it comes to technology. Show me it. Semiconductors, a little bit different. But, Intel isn't a Xilinx. Intel isn't, you know, an LRCX. LRCX is not Intel or Netflix or Apple or Google. Okay, they're a little different playing field. Now, what does that mean? Oh, Intel's done as a company? No. It just means that they're going through a rough patch as every single company that exists ever, with the exception of water utility companies, have gone through in the past. Those are the only companies that are an exception to a rule. And if you read my 2018 report, there's a reason why my favorite dividend company happens to be one of those water utility companies. Okay? So Intel's going through a tough patch. No, they're not going bankrupt. They still made $16 billion. It's just that the analyst expectations were too lofty at this current time, and the stock needs to go, see that tongue on top of the roof of your mouth, lower. Levels to watch. Watch 45.54. It's going to be an A plus trigger in Intel. A break of 45.54 tomorrow can get you 44.39. It's currently trading at 46 and a quarter. Hopefully it opens up above 45.54 and flushes through it. If you're in the Newsbeat live room, we'll be tracking this thing in real time. Interested in joining? Shameless promotion. You never been in the Newsbeat live room before? $49 for your first month. That beats the $299 that they charge $300 a month. You could have your first month for for $49. There's a link in the description. Let's go into the next earnings. Starbucks. All right. I stopped drinking Starbucks when I stopped drinking non or inorganic coffee. Is it non-organic or inorganic? Both? None? Both? I don't know. When I stopped drinking coffee that was not organic, I stopped going to Starbucks. And ever since that happened, Starbucks fell hard and then recently rallied. Now, Starbucks reported earnings and is trading up now. They went down early on. They dropped to 62.93 and then thrust it up to 67.33 and then digested by $66. Did Starbucks deserve to be up after hours? 75 cents consensus beats the analyst consensus of 65 cents. All right, thumbs up, but again, I don't care about your current earnings. 6.63 billion beats the 6.49 billion. Okay, very cool, Starbucks. I appreciate that. Show me what you did in the future. So they raised their fiscal year 19, that's 2019 this year. They raised their fiscal year 19 earnings to $2.68 to 273 from the 261 to 266. The consensus was 265. Cha-ching, 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 cha-ching. You deserved it. You deserved it. The American comps decelerated on a 2-year basis. So you have people like Steven saying general traffic softness and increasingly discretionary nature of its beverage growth has the Stevens analyst concerned. All right. Again, I don't mean to point out the obvious with these analysts. Can one analyst not sound like an imbecile? Can 1 out of 10 analysts not sound like an imbecile? I don't like Starbucks coffee. I could give two you-know-whats who goes or who does not go in their store. But people are going to the point where they are beating analyst consensus. This is a solid beat. They're only up $1.24. Watch for a break of 66.76 tomorrow. That was today's high in Starbucks. It had a wide range today. It was downgraded today, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So definitely keep an eye on it. Actually, it wasn't downgraded today. Anyway, keep an eye on it. 66.76. Starbucks, good earnings, deserves to be gapped up as it is right now. Last, WDC. You want to hear Western Digital? Western Digital up 10% after hours. Did Western Digital deserve to be up this much? $1.45 misses The $1.49 consensus for this quarter. I don't care. 4.2 billion misses the 4.25 billion consensus. They missed on revenues and earnings. Hold on. Let's see how many. Let's see from none at all to several. How many turds do I give? Zero. None. Only depends on next quarter's earnings. Now, here is the problem. They said that their Q3 earnings, they announced Q2 earnings, so Q3 is the next one. Their Q3 earnings is going to be 40 cents to 60 cents, but it might not compare to the 98 cents consensus. When they say that, it usually means that they're either closing a facility or doing some one-time business charge, which negatively impacted their numbers. Their Q3 revenue, though, is 3.6 billion to 3.8 billion. That's short of the 3.9 billion expected. Western Digital did not deserve to gap up. Western Digital did not deserve to gap up. So what's going to happen tomorrow on Western Digital? I'm going to look for a long or a short. At the end of the day, I could care less whether I buy or sell as long as it makes sense. And it makes sense both ways because I'm telling you the earnings sucked. Not because of what they reported this quarter. That obviously sucked. And I'm telling you that's not important. But next quarter is kind of weird because you don't really know if they were going to beat the 98 cents consensus because they said the 40 to 60 cent might not compare to the consensus of 98 cents. And it leaves you in a little bit of the quagmire of curiosity, giggity. So you don't really know what's going to happen, but when you look at their revenues, 3.6 to 3.8 billion, you want to go down the middle and say they're going to make it in between there. That's 3.7 billion. That's missing the 3.9 billion expected. That would be a $200 million miss. $200 million. That's a lot of money for Western Digital. Maybe Apple, sneezes that every 5 minutes, but not Western Digital. And that's a big deal. These earnings are scary. These earnings suck. I would love to look for a short opportunity tomorrow in Western Digital. Now, look. The stock's been very beaten up. It hasn't been able to rally in 2018. It was basically the stock went from $107 all the way down to $33 recently on December 26th. I get it. It's a very beaten up name. It deserves to be beaten up. This company is struggling. The DRAM market is struggling. There were a lot of downgrades that came last week. Kept in like bad downgrades, like people who suck at their job downgrades, like, people putting a $65 target on a $35 stock, which is a reduction from 75, basically, zero value analysts. But I'm telling you right now, these analysts got it right. The analysts who are downgrading Western Digital, they all got it right. And ironically, Wall Street is deciding to gap Western Digital higher. Initially, it dropped. It closed at $40.14. It went down to $37.51. So it dropped 2.5 points, popped up back to 40, pulled down back under 39, and then exploded above 44. I don't care what they said on their conference call, unless they're looking for the cure for cancer in a data storage industry, or they're doing something that's going to make a positive difference in the world. Their earnings just simply sucked. Just like when I told you Netflix, when they gapped it up 2 earnings ago, and the earnings sucked, and every analyst upgraded, and I said the earnings sucked, and the stock dropped over 100 points in 2 weeks. These earnings suck, and I'm going to look for a short in it. So I have this cool time travel machine, and I already saw what happens tomorrow, and I came back to the future today to share with you the algorithmic levels. These levels don't always hit. In fact, they usually don't. These are tomorrow's levels today. Don't tattoo them. They change every day. Write them down. Take a screenshot. Hit print screen. Do whatever you can to capture this image. Go back to this part of the video and pause it, considering signed. You signed my holding Mark Melnick, harmless and unliable for anything. And if you did that, here are tomorrow's levels today. No Captain Hindsight. Here they are. When support hits, you usually have a good buying opportunity, I have found for myself. When resistance hits, I usually have a good shorting opportunity for myself. How about Forex? So I've been a lot more active in the Forex market here. And can I pull it up easily here? Let's see if I could pull it up. There we go. So it's a little hard to see. It's a little hard to see. Let's see if I could zoom in on it. It's a little hard to see there. You could probably screenshot it, and if you want to struggle to see the words, you can. Those are two Forex orders I opened. So tonight, I put in a market order on US dollar Swiss franc to buy it at 0.99590. Just FYI, it's trading slightly below there. It's at 0.99576 as we speak. I just threw in a market order to buy it, and you could that other trade, the other Canadian Japanese yen was a trade that got filled before. What's underneath the gray line are two new trades, as well as the US dollar Swiss franc, obviously, that I just spoke about. But these two are two new trades. They're two shorts. It's based on my curl methodology, and you get, my live orders in real time. And if you're part of the Newsbeat Live, room, you get free access to my Twitter, which, I will always share with you at any given time. I could, show you this, no new Forex trades, for example, or actually, I didn't tweet them out tonight. That was from the other night, or Logitech bullish, or the algo levels. You'll get them as well as the names I'm following, including the Tesla short from yesterday and things like that. So you guys do get all access to that as well. And yeah, right now, we're going to go into our precise daily stock levels. Imagine, ladies and gentlemen, that you could ask me a question and I would give you true algorithmic support and or resistance for any stock you're watching. And I would tell you if I liked it or not. And I would tell you if it stood out to me. Imagine you had an algorithmic analyst within your pocket. Imagine that. Imagine that you could benefit and enjoy all the luxuries of trading that all the Newsbeat Live members do. You can. You can for just $49 a month for the first month if you're a brand new member. Other than that, there are so many great deals, so many easy ways to sign up now. There's a reason why analysts who suck at their job swear that the Newsbeat Live Room is the largest, fastest growing trading room in the nation. Happy trading, make money. I'll see you guys tomorrow on the Newsbeat Live trading broadcast. Have a wonderful evening.